Hello, everyone. My name is Erica Gibson. This is for DL5723. This is my Module 2 assignment. Bear with me. I am trying to get all the technology set up. Okay, I think I got everything. I'm on my partner's computer and headset and webcam, and I do apologize if you hear and or see my dog in the background. All right, so my fictitious company is Tutors on the Fly. I created a tutor's guide for learning landscapes specifically for ELL scholars. This is my first slide. My second slide is a little bit of information about, the fictitious company, and then I would give a deep dive into the student population. So I'm going to kind of switch hats a little bit and talk about constructivism. It's really a learning theory where the instructor takes a back seat and becomes more of a facilitator, and the learners take ownership of actively building their learning through experiences, reflections, and different interactions. So that's really what I wanted to center my virtual online boarding virtual onboarding with. So again, just this first slide is just giving a little bit of background knowledge into why even do an ELL onboarding session is to kind of build the background knowledge of, okay, we have a lot of diverse learners. How can we cater to them better? My second slide would be the icebreaker, two truths and a tutor tale. Two truths are just any two facts that you want to share with your cohort and the instructor, and then a silly anecdotal tale while you were tutoring. And if you don't have tutoring experience, then any educational experience prior. This is a good icebreaker because you're building on prior knowledge, so you're connecting it back to constructivism, but also the instructor gets to see a little bit of the new tutors' backgrounds, whether they have tutoring experience, what was that experience like, or if they have no tutoring experience, kind of understanding who their learners are. The next slide would be kind of like again, a silly little icebreaker almost. It's a language exercise using context clues. I would pretty much, if I were the instructor, set it up like, all right, what can you gather from this poster? And, might not be able to gather much, but we can definitely see that there's some pictorial representations of a light bulb, an ear, and a fire. And the word at the top kind of reminds us of energy. So we can make the conclusion that it's talking about the three types of energy. We might not have enough information about Spanish to know the definition, but we know that we're talking about light, sound, and thermal energy just by looking at the words, making some assumptions there using our context clues, but also looking at the pictures next to it. And that's just to give a little insight of where our ELL scholars are coming in at and what they might need. All right, our next slide would be to talk about the strategies. On my storyboard, I said 10 strategies, but I cut it in half because just looking at the slide, it looked a little cluttered. So I brought it down to 5. If need be, you can do another 5 on a different slide, but I'm just showing 5 here. So I have the strategies listed, and then the instructor would go into it. So doing a little bit of pre-teaching, but it's not necessarily teaching, it's more like giving tips or strategies to help really enhance ELL scholars' learnings through the tutoring. And these can be, company-wide strategies that tutors on the fly implement. So then we would jump right in to group sessions. And again, bringing in that constructivism, we are doing real world scenarios. They would be given to the small groups once, you did the little breakout groups with Zoom. The instructor can pop in, tell them what the real world scenario is, and then they might have to use one of the strategies previously mentioned, something that they've already learned through their prior experiences, or just chatting with one another and building a new strategy on their own so that they will be in their small groups talking about a real life scenario. And this would take about 15 minutes to brainstorm. And during that time, the instructor is really popping in from group to group and kind of listening in and seeing, okay, who's kind of taking charge, who has a little bit more background knowledge, and getting that information. All right, so then we would so that's kind of like jigsaw. That's a strategy that I like to use in my teaching. And then in order to understand the jigsaw, you got to come back and talk about the pieces. So a group share out of what was the silly scenario and what plan did you come up with, and kind of explain why, Is it a more science-based lesson with really heavy tier 3 vocabulary? Do you need more pictorial representations? And again, seeing as the instructor, seeing where, okay, well, my learners, they didn't really come up with a really good strategy. I might need to, double dip and have a separate meeting with them and really delve into, in more detail, those strategies. And again, the learners are basing this off of reflection, right? You're hearing another scenario, so that's another connection to constructivism. You're hearing another real world scenario, but then you're kind of reflecting on it. Do you agree with what the other group did? If not, how would you change it and build it to really accommodate your learners? And the last side, super simple. What would be upcoming? I would just put dates of, okay, you need to get this paperwork in by, and any questions, this just values interactions and discussions, and it can also seek clarification. So the group work really helps through reflection and activating that metacognition and using, you know, those real world scenarios to problem solve and stretch and exercise their critical thinking muscle. Thank you so much. Again, I apologize if you heard my dog throughout this. Yes, that was my presentation. Thank you.